But we begin tonight with growing glimmers of the Rebel Alliance. Look at these scenes as thousands of Americans in 50 states took to the streets today to reject the MAGA hostile takeover of American democracy, denouncing everything from Donald Trump's calls to occupy Gaza to his Project 2025 playbook and the seemingly unlimited authority Trump has handed to Elon Musk with zero checks and balances and no oversight. Barely 2 weeks into the Trump administration, signs of the collapse of constitutional order ushered in by Musk, an unelected South African-born billionaire, and a handful of teen and young adult employees from his private companies are everywhere. Musk and his junior staffers have infected government agencies, potentially illegally pushing out tens of thousands of civil servants and gaining unfettered access to some of the federal government's most sensitive payment systems. Think Social Security, student loans, and federal grants to businesses and organizations serving seniors and the poor, plus the private personnel files of potentially every federal employee and maybe every American Social Security number. Republicans have met this power grab by a bunch of tech bros young enough to be their kids with what can only be called cowardly capitulation. They've called Democrats and legacy media hysterical for saying, hey, maybe a bunch of 20-somethings that nobody elected shouldn't be rooting around in our personal data with zero knowledge of how basic government functions and no oversight. I mean, would you be comfortable with a precocious teenager stepping in and performing open heart surgery on you? I doubt it. So why should we be cool with random Elon staffers barging into federal government offices and taking over the systems that make sure your mom and dad get their Social Security checks, your kids get Head Start, or your autistic son gets a special education aid at school? Look, I get it that many Americans' eyes just glaze over about a bunch of agencies with alphabet names. But believe it or not, these agencies help keep us safe and alive. EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, makes sure Americans have clean air, land, and water by regulating how much grunk oil and chemical companies can dump into our rivers and streams. How do you make America healthy again with cancer-causing poisons flowing into the tap water? DOE, the Department of Education, does not, I repeat, does not set school curriculums. But it does help kids with special needs get grants so that they have support in our public schools. FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, regulates civil aviation to make sure the planes don't fall out of the sky, like has already happened twice in 24 hours in the first 9 days of Trump 2.0. FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, makes sure that the food you eat, the lipstick you put on, and the pills you take don't kill you. Eggs are expensive right now because there's a bird flu killing birds, cows, and humans. I suspect you want the FDA to make sure that your now more expensive Waffle House eggs don't kill you, right? NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, warns us about tornadoes and hurricanes. I think Floridians would, kind of like to know when to take shelter, when 100-mile-an-hour winds are coming. But, maybe I'm wrong. Then there's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was set up to make sure that banks and credit card companies don't take you to the cleaners with crazy fees or get us into another mortgage crisis like they did in 2008. And then there's USAID, which for about 1% of our federal budget helps America counter Russian and Chinese influence around the world by helping countries struggling with famine and war and child trafficking. Without them, even more desperate people are likely to wind up here, immigration opponents. All of these agencies could go the way of the dodo bird if Musk has his way. Joni Mitchell once wrote, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone." Well, we're about to find out, because we could very well be headed into a completely deregulated world run by artificial intelligence, MAGA enforcers, and Elon fanboys who will make America work about as well as ex-Twitter. What could possibly go wrong? Joining me now is Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Please correct me if I got any of that wrong.
You didn't.
Okay.
And I want to say, what was really lovely about what you just said is just to remind people, we built a government to work for all of us.
Yes.
We're just all better off if, in fact, the bird flu gets under control, and that our eggs won't kill us. We are all better off. We're better off. We make these investments in infrastructure. We make these investments in our payment systems so people don't get cheated. That's how we keep the economy going. And look, bless everybody who gets out there and makes a fortune. Bless everybody who gets up every day and goes to work. But understand the underpinnings of all that are something we all invested in. And now we've got Donald Trump and his co-president, Elon Musk, and they're just running a wrecking ball through it. And it's not like it's an abstract problem. It is really and truly the kid who needs an aide to be able to sit in class so that they can get an education, taking that aide away, and maybe taking away that whole classroom. It's these very real ways that people are touched by this.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, when you say we, the American people, hire people like you. We hire Congress members and we hire United States senators to make the budget that even Elon Musk's contracts come from. The money that he gets and that made him rich came from the American taxpayer hiring senators, hiring Congress members. They do an appropriation because the Constitution says it's y'all's job. It is the Congress's job. What Trump is trying to reset here is to say, nope, Congress can do whatever it wants. I'm spending this money myself. And he's authorized, this is the one that blows my mind, Senator. A private citizen and a bunch of his 20-something and teenage henchmen have your Social Security number and mine, our mom's, anybody's mom's Social Security number. They can turn off their student loans. They can turn off Head Start. Who gave them that right?
Right. They can not only turn it off, the other thing is, are you sure they didn't copy any of it while they're in there?
This is the other thing. And the piece is, so supposedly they want to use AI to try to make these cuts, right? They don't know anything about government, so they're going to let the AI bots do it. This is the fear I think I have, and I'm sure that you have, is that these unregulated people, who apparently they're giving some security clearances to, could download that data. Data is the coin of the realm. They could use it to train the AI grok that he's got for Twitter. They could literally use it to profit, and we've not given them permission to do it.
That's right. And in order to get into this system, understand, this is like one of the most protected systems in the world. It's just a tiny handful of people who've had access to it and who understand what it works. In order to get in, how many fences did they have to knock down? How many gates did they have to open? And how many people are sliding in behind him? I don't know. Iranian hackers, North Korean hackers, black hats from anywhere around the world. In other words, we had a banking hearing this morning. And one of the questions that Democrats asked, we had 2 or 3 bankers there, is would you let someone come in and see your customers' private banking data? And these bankers were like, no, never, absolutely not, no. So why is it okay for Elon Musk and a handful of people just to come in and say, you know what, we're just going to root around here for a while? And then while they're at it, why should we have the slightest bit of confidence that they're not turning off programs they don't like? They've already indicated just a week before that anything they want to shut down, they can just shut down.
Let's get into this
funding.
For a moment. The claim from Republicans is that they've only got read-only access. The White House spokesperson said that today. But Elon Musk himself posted on his ex-Twitter, no, we turned off the funding to this Lutheran organization. So he's admitting that they are doing more than... There's also some Wired reporting and other reporting that they might be downloading software onto it. We literally are told, don't click on anything on our phone because you might download malware. We don't know what that software is. You all don't know what that software is. If a foreign government was doing this, we would say that the federal government is having a cyber attack.
Oh, absolutely.
And you all passed a law banning TikTok because of the fear that the Chinese government could get access to our personal data.
Exactly right. And so now Elon Musk has got access to all of his personal data. That's exactly right.
What can be done about this?
So look, the first thing we can do is we have to raise our voices about this. Remember last week they cut off funding. They said we're going to do a pause on everything that has federal funding. And what did people do?
22 states sued.
We went to the courts, right? And we also raised our voices. Think how many people stood up and said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I want everybody to know that's my little organization here. That's my small business that can't get our. That's my NIH. I'm working on trying to cure cancer here, guys, and you just cut off my funding. I'm going to have to shut down my small business. How many people spoke out? And what happened? We've got the courts in place now, and I think the appetite for going through and trying to shut these down, at least the warning shot has been fired. So, okay, so we've held the line there. Now we come to the second one. Elon Musk comes in, and it's 2.0.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it program by program, now they've got their fingers on the keys to do it person by person, right? We don't.
I mean, they could retaliate against his.
Exactly.
How is Ford comfortable, the company, with their competitor having the ability to turn off their federal grants, their contracts? He could literally have an advantage against his fellow companies. I do FAFSA. I've done FAFSA. My kids are now out of college. You put so much personal data in there. What if one, we don't know who these young people are. We've got their names, some of them in Wired. What if there's someone that they just have a beef with? Right. And they say, now I've got their data. I know where they live. I know their social security number. I've got their banking information. They have people's tax returns.
So this is the moment when we really start rallying the troops. People tell the stories. They do not want their personal data exposed to some unelected billionaire and a handful of people that he has picked out. That we're just not going to do that. And I really want to emphasize here, this is a time when people have power. We showed it last week by stepping up. We can show it again now. People need to stand up and tell these stories. Every time you go on social media and say, I got to thinking, I actually benefit from a federal grant, or they have my name, they have my social security. Anybody ever file taxes?